I'm
about.
not sure what that means for you.
I know, that would make me... Anyway, we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to
Jeez.
tonight's show.
It's like a ninja start.
I know. I try and catch you guys off guard now.
I like it.
This is the 169th episode of the Daytripper Photo Show, and it's our Banter show. And the Banter show is basically just us talking about current events, things that are happening in the world of photography, things that are of interest to us that we might think would be of interest to our viewer. And I just want to remind everybody that the Q&A is turned on. So if you are interested in saying hello or you want to just chat to us, give us your opinion, use the Q&A part of the Hangout. It's on the left side of the window. Click the little button that says Q&A, and on the right side you'll be able to chat what you want to say, and we'll answer it, talk about it right here live on the show. I don't know if you can see yet. Oh, Joseph Leduc, one of our partners, is here. Hello, yippee. I always makes me laugh when I hear Joe say yippee. I don't know, just a me thing. Hello, thanks for watching. And okay, so I was just going to say, I don't know if you can see at home, but we have four guests, or four hosts, I should say, on the show tonight. Familiar face from back in the day, Navy Nhum is back with us. Yay. So, Navi, thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's always good having you back on. But tonight is for a lot of reasons. So we're going to get to that in just a few seconds. But first, before we get into that, thank you for being here, Navi. Phil, how are you, buddy?
Hello, I'm fantastic. Happy to be back, and looking forward to bantering a little bit.
Banter on, banter on. I love the Banter show. We get to just kind of relax and just talk about all kinds of stuff and roll in everything that people want to say. Andrew's watching. Good evening, gentlemen, and Navi. And Andrew, thank you formally for helping us out a little bit at the studio. We're going to talk a lot more about the studio shortly. Ron Gray, hello to you, sir. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. And Heather, good day to Heather watching us as well. Heather Gurrell, always very watches the show all the time. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. And one more person that we haven't said hello to yet. Good day, sir. How you doing, Gabe?
Oh, hi.
Hi. How have you been this week?
I have been a very busy photographer this week. So, yeah.
But that's a good thing. That's what we all hope for.
Yeah, it's been with the topic that we're going to talk about in a little bit, and my own shooting and everything else. Yeah, it's been a very fun, productive week where I jump out of bed every morning.
You know, that's the
good.
best thing. And I think that's what I'm so excited about for the show tonight and for the upcoming couple of weeks and maybe 2 years, so to speak. There's so many cool things that are going to be happening with Daytripper Photo and with all of us individually, and that's the real reason we have Navi on the show tonight. We're going to be talking about the Loft Studio. So excited. The Loft Studio is something that we formally announced on the last show, and I'm still in shock about the response that we've had about it. Totally in shock. I've never had so much reaction or so much interaction, I should say, on any social media posts I've made, and this is going across the board. Everybody that shared the information on Facebook and all these other mediums have had great reaction to it as well. What do you guys think? Like, what have you heard about what we've got going on? Okay.
Well, I mean, a lot of buzz, a lot of sharing, a lot of support, a lot of yeah, just positive feedback so far. I've given a couple tours, and so far everybody's absolutely loved the space. And I mean, it's only kind of been, you know, open 6 days. It's not really open yet. We're just still, you know, we're trying to get the internet up and running. We're you know, getting the backdrops installed, figuring out the best places to put everything and stuff like that. So I'm really happy with where it is now. I'm super excited about where it's going to be in, you know, 3 weeks.
And 3 weeks is an important number because the grand opening of the Loft Studio is May 1st officially. And before that, though, Navi, we've got a big session that we're doing with you, the portrait session.
Yes, indeed, the first official photography session at the studio. So I'm pretty excited to be in that space, and I think the people who are coming to are excited to kind of see, you know, what we have to offer with the loft. So
yeah, it's a beautiful space, and I think that's what's attracting so many people. A 140-year-old building, a lot of character. The floors are just awesome. So
I was actually surprised that maybe surprised isn't the word, but I'm happy that it's gotten a lot of buzz, and there's, you know, lots of people already following the post and liking the page, and we really haven't advertised anything other than just announcing it and having a couple posts online.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's pretty much
positive feedback, which is good.
just after the show, I made a post, and that was shared and it went around. We will be doing more, but we don't want to make everybody sick of it. So let's move on a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for being on this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just going to say hi to Jerry Kelly. Good day. Thanks for watching. And Christine. Good evening, everyone. Looking forward to a good show. No pressure there. No pressure. She has a newborn, though, so she won't be able to watch the whole live show. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Ah, come on. Christine emailed me like a week ago and told me.
That's awesome.
No, she didn't.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. I knew she was expecting, so that's good. Yeah.
Very cool. Congratulations, Christine. That's awesome. And Nick Does Stuff is watching. He says, hey, guys and girl.
Gabriel.
Nick is adding to the show already. Very cool. Okay, so let's get to this. I just want to remind everybody to check out the Daytripper Photo community on Google+. There's a lot of cool things that go on there pretty much every day. It's becoming much more interactive. There's more and more stuff being posted all the time. I'm so happy to see it, and I hope everybody's enjoying the services that we offer. If you have any questions, if you need help, tutorials, quick tips are here or there. Happy to oblige. Any questions you have in the world of photography, post it there. You've got 430 people or something like that now. So that's pretty awesome. I'm pretty stoked about that. Lots more people joining regularly. So thank you, everybody who's new to the community. And, of course, to the folks who've been with us since the start. We love you guys. It's just been a great ride. And this next studio chapter is going to be even more fun. Also, I just want to remind everybody, if you like our show, if you're watching on YouTube, click like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share it with your friends, let them know we're doing the show. This is 169 episodes we've done, so it's like when you get into the show like The Walking Dead, you're already into it 4 seasons, you get to go back and watch all these really cool episodes. That's not like our show.
They're all available on YouTube, so
yeah, no, go back and check it out. There's a topic for pretty much everything, and we've talked about so much, and now that we split it up to Banter Show, Tips and Techniques Show, and the photo review show, I think that it's nice that we can spend a little bit more time and get into the topic of discussion a little bit better. I like it. Is everybody enjoying it? Let us know through the Q&A. If you're liking the 3 separate shows, or do you want us to just cut them all down to one show, or maybe you do no shows? Let us know. Okay, one more thing to remind everybody. I just can't say enough. Our sponsors who've helped us out on the show, LensPen and Sennheiser. Awesome. The Sennheiser show with the microphones, I learned stuff I had no clue. I've been selling microphones for, I don't know, since 1990, and I didn't know some of the stuff he was telling us about, so that was pretty cool. And, of course, LensPen. I mean, get a LensPen. That's all I got to say. They're awesome. Okay, so Nick says the 3 separate is great. He says this show is great. Yeah, that's only because you've made us laugh. That's okay. You're allowed. All right, so that's it. So let's get into the conversation here, guys. Let's talk about some stuff. The studio. Why would we even open a studio? What's the point of us doing a studio?
So we can escape our personal lives at home.
The truth comes out. Is Devin in the back there?
No, he's not.
What's that, Phil?
So I think like having this, I'd like to say, I'm not officially part of it. However, I know I'm going to be trying to, use it from you guys because I have some ideas that need a studio. But the problem with not having a studio is finding a studio to use, and finding one that's reliable, and finding one that you can actually get with, reliability, that it's going to be clean, and random people aren't going to show up halfway through. And the downfall to having a studio is, if you're not there all the time, then it's a big space that's empty, and you're maybe not using it to its fullest. So I'm super excited about what you guys are doing. I think the idea of kind of the group going together on it was fantastic, and I think what you have planned for it is an outstanding idea.
Cool. Thanks, man. That's really cool. And to touch on what you were saying, I mean, there are 5 of us who are involved in this, 5 partners. Myself, doing Daytripper Photo, running my photo classes, anything indoors, photo class related, I'm going to run inside there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do photo reviews. We're going to do pre-meetings there, so we have an overnight session in September. We're going to use this space as a place where we can go ahead of time, a week or 2 ahead of time, and coordinate and get everybody on the same page. So for Daytripper, it's going to be a lot of fun. Navi, what do you think you're going to be running from there?
I'm really excited to have the space to, obviously do photo shoots and stuff like that, because whenever I need a studio, was always driving all the way downtown and dealing with the whole Toronto thing. But just to, even just for me to have a place to work and be in a work environment, because I only get so much done sitting at my desk at home, and walking to my fridge every couple minutes. I'm going to be much more productive and probably not as bloated as well.
Well, the fridge in the studio will be much closer to the desk than maybe at home. So
roll over,
Yeah,
it might be smaller though.
And
yeah,
just
that's good.
have a professional space to meet clients as well. So Starbucks has been great to me, and I don't mind giving them my business, but once in a while it's good to have my own space that people can come to me. And also I'm really excited to have a place where if I have an idea and the space isn't being used, I can just go and shoot something, whether it's 9 a.m. or 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to having sort of that flexibility.
For sure. Gabe, what about yourself? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving the idea right now or before the studio. If I want to do some shooting, move the dining room table, move everything in the dining room, set up all the lights, put up the backdrop, blah blah blah. Like it was a whole production, and then usually by the time I'm done shooting, I'm tired, go to bed. In the morning, I got to take everything down, put it all back so we can have breakfast. And I would actually rather drive 20 minutes and just have everything all set up, right? Do the shooting, take it all down, and leave. And then also, like Navi, I work a lot from home, and I end up usually just like in a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks or something like that, because at home there's always something to vacuum or dishes to do or something to clean. I just get too distracted, or fridges to raid. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a nice, we're going to have high-speed internet there, we're going to have a big coffee machine, comfy chairs, and it's just going to be a nice place to sit down and get stuff done, work on personal projects, but very similar use to Navi, meet up with clients. There is, I don't know if we're going to go into this in greater detail down the road, but there's such an amazing group of stores on Main Street. It's incredible what's available to us there, so I'm planning on taking full advantage of that too.
And that's a big reason why we insisted to do this on Main Street. I mean, it's about Main Street Newmarket. It's about community. It's about, reaching all the other people that we know in town and getting everybody involved. Daytripper has been about community since day one, and I think it's really lent well to a lot of people's inspiration, a lot of people getting out and trying things they might not have tried. I'd even venture to say that, it's inspired people to get into portrait photography. So it's just the natural progression of what we all do to have a space where we could use it ourselves, we can get creative and really work on the imagery we're trying to create. I've got a photo series that I had mine now for, I don't know, perhaps 5 or 6 years. I just haven't had a space or the time to just say, yes, I'm going to make that happen. So now that we have this space, I'm definitely going to make that happen. So that's pretty exciting for me. And even just, Gabriel, last night we went out for dinner with our old buddy Pete McKinnon, which was awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Every time you get together with Pete McKinnon, it's awesome. And we talked about something, potentially Pete McKinnon Master Class happening. So that would be very good. If you don't know who Peter McKinnon is, check him out. But we had dinner last night with Pete, and he's talking about all kinds of stuff. And we brought him up to see the studio, and Joe LeDuc was doing a shoot. And he knew we were coming. We didn't just barge in, just saying to everybody. But my God, he worked that space. Wasn't that impressive to see?
That was really impressive, yeah.
I mean, pardon?
What was he shooting?
He just had a couple people up there taking some shots. I don't know, what would you call what he was doing?
It was a fashion shoot, but he had he had one of the backdrops down. He had some great lighting there, but then he also had a stand with like some shutters, and he was getting awesome. The nice thing about this space is that it's so big, you can use up all the space, but actually have 2 or 3 stations set up at once. So let's move over here, and then let's create some cool shadows with this. It's got huge windows, so you can use natural light. Then you can add some flash when the sun goes down. Then it's basically blackout, and you use. There's tons of room for. We've got like 7-foot umbrellas and things like that. I mean, it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the space is spacious. You can move around. You can have elbow room and be. I'm not going to say that maybe you have like 2 people working in the space at the same time doing separate shoots. I think what Gabriel was suggesting, one person with a couple different zones set up so you can transition from one to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it. I'm just clarifying for everybody. But yeah, I think that's what's so beautiful about this space is you can be on your own and look over the whole city of Newmarket because it's the very top. Like it's one of the tallest buildings on Main Street, and we're the whole top floor. Yeah, can you tell we're excited? Can you guys tell we're excited?
It sounds a little bit.
Yeah,
excited.
just a little bit. All right, let's go to the Q&A here. Gord Taylor asks, what plug? Where were we talking about plugs aside from last week when I showed the Donald Trump plug? Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. If you missed it, you're lucky.
Okay, Ron Gray says, are you going to have a schedule when each of you will be available at the studio? Can people drop in to say hi sometimes? You can absolutely drop in to say hi. We may not be there. No, there's no set schedule at this point for when we're going to be there. We will have a shared Google Calendar for folks that want to rent the space, so you'll always know what time you have available to you to rent, and we would, be there to walk you in and so on and so forth. But I don't think we're going to have a set schedule for when each of us will be there. Do you guys, have we thought of that?
I feel like photographer schedules are not really set at any time. Kind of like, gotta be there, shoot here, Tuesday I'm off from 2 a.m. till 6 a.m.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, we do. If you want to come by and see it and get a tour, there is the opening day, but also there's info at the loftstudio.ca. If you can't make the opening and you want to set up a specific tour, we can accommodate that as well.
Absolutely. We should also mention our 5th partner, Robert Schindelheim. I mean, Robert's going to be using it for all kinds of stuff as well. He is a lot newer into the world of photography, and I think it's great to see him soaking everything up and flex his muscles photography-wise and really get more out of his passion. And he's a budding professional photographer, and he's working with some pretty amazing people. So, what?
Sorry,
that was my thing. That was my email notification.
Oh, okay.
I imagine having, like, you get into the old-timer conversations, like, well, when I started photography, we couldn't change ISO. And I told you that, my feelings on that, I think, last week, that it's just, like, such a foreign concept to me that you can't change that. But can you imagine, like, when you were just first getting into photography, having access to a studio?
Not just that, but also somebody like Joe LeDuc, who... no offense to you guys, because you're both phenomenal, but in my opinion, Joe LeDuc
is
just
us here. Excuse me.
Well,
no offense to you, but
other folks. Come on, you cannot argue with me. Joseph LeDuc is a master. He's been a stock photographer for decades. He worked for Quebec Or shooting the Sears catalogs. I mean, portrait weddings. He's done weddings for generations of families. It's just the ability for somebody like Robert to work in a studio and have somebody like Joe to bend an ear every once in a while, or you, Navi, to talk about posing and lighting, and Gabriel about interacting with people, and me about teaching this or that. I mean, it's just, I think we all are blessed to work with each other. And before I stick my nose any further up everybody's butt, I'm just gonna go back to the Q&A. All right. Okay, so Nick says, sorry, what is the name of the website? The website is www.theloftstudio.ca. It's not fully up yet.
There's a coming soon.
Banner. Yes.
Yeah, just a coming, yeah.
And Walter asks, actually, this is a very good question. Does the studio allow animals for photo shoots? So Walter was our guest previously. He does the dog rescue and all that. He does a lot of work with dogs. If you want to do a photo shoot with his dogs in the studio, providing they're, house trained, that's all I mean, it's bad enough walking to work and having to cross that little patch of greenery when I walk up there. I don't want that in the studio. But aside from that, would you guys have a problem with that?
Nope.
There you go. There's your answer, bud. And Nick does stuff. Okay, thanks. You're welcome. New format, 3 separate shows was and is a great idea. Good. Christine, Andrew, and Gord all say that. So good. I'm glad.
There you go. Nice.
Thanks very much. Appreciate the feedback. Okay, so now as far as the studio space, what can it be used for? Like we've talked about what we might use it for, but what could other people rent it for?
same, I guess. You know, if they
Okay,
have
wow.
crazy ideas and they want to sort of put it to work and not have to drive a bajillion miles away or move furniture right downtown.
Or yeah, set up. You know, I mean, all the studio rentals come with equipment included. So you know, if you want to do something that involves 3 lights and you only own one, you know, all the reflectors, everything like that comes with it. Sorry?
Modifiers and everything.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We've got a wind machine. I think we're going to have a smoke machine. I've been looking at some stuff. I want to take. I saw a personal project that a photographer did online where he took a bunch of his kids' toys, like Legos and stuff like that, and put them in these like really cool kind of settings, and then added a backdrop in Photoshop and made these really cool looking sort of battle scenes with them. It's like, man, that would be totally awesome to do, but I want to do that at my house, right? I'm going to have to tear the whole place apart. So you go down to the studio, you get a foldable table, you set it all up. I mean, you know, personal projects, exploration, if you see something online, oh, I really like this picture, I'd like to shoot something like that. Come by the studio, figure out what gear you need, you know, by using the gear that's there to match that type of style and look.
And before it gets any further, Haley and Jennifer Newberry, no fire.
And no
Same.
cats.
They're
No cats.
they like lighting things on fire apparently?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
It's a 140-year-old building in classic downtown Newmarket, so we'll probably draw the line at fire.
Unless you want to, you know, remodel everything.
No,
Like the entire downtown core.
Yeah.
There must be a moat with any type of fire.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, I have a couple ideas that I might have to, you know, borrow from you guys, figure something out for that. But things that I want to do that I can't do in my house because I don't have I have a table I can move, but then I have the table in the background, or you know, I want space to do something and I don't have that, and I'm not sure if you guys are looking into this, and if you are, and I'm bringing it up ahead of time, then my apologies. But I think the biggest thing people have against shooting with studio lighting is it seems super daunting and super terrifying. So I imagine with having everything there, with having studio lights there, maybe they can get someone out with the lights, so that if they're trying to do their first shoot, even if it's like their neighbor or their friend or their cat. Okay, no cats. Their dog, they want to get a great shot of it, and they're not quite sure how. Maybe you guys can be there, or someone can be there to assist them with that. So
there was talk about that.
Bring that terrifying nature of, I have these things, they're really bright, and I don't know how to make them less bright. You can make that make more sense, because I think the easiest way to figure out how to use studio lighting is to use studio lighting. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but you can watch as many YouTube videos as you want on theory, but until you get into actually using it and understanding that you move something closer, it gets brighter, it takes practice to actually make these things click. And I think someone who's trying to experiment, and they might have a setup in their living room or a setup in their kitchen, but actually being able to go somewhere and practice and get feedback on what they're doing, I think might be the most valuable thing for them.
To spread things out and have the space to, shoot from a further distance and zoom in to flatten up the field and work with perspective and composition and get up on a ladder and shoot down on something. So, there's all kinds of cool things that can be done.
The space is, is great for people, not like if they have an actual project they have in mind, but just as a learning opportunity, like similar to what Phil was saying, just to have time to do test shoots and play around with things and see what kind of photography you actually want to do, or just try out some new lights that you have, or try studio lights for the first time. Any of that stuff.
Yeah, Nick says the Bry angle. Nick was one of my students at the McMichael Art Gallery session, and
cool.
He's awesome. He's a great kid.
We may even offer a student discount.
Well, there you go. Actually, that's something we should do. We'll talk about that. Yeah, I guess we shouldn't commit to anything on live TV. We'll help you gain knowledge.
May.
May. Okay, so
it's in discussion.
And I think we're pretty good. We don't want to drill the whole studio thing down people's throats. We're just super excited about it, and I'm so anxious. I used it today for a class, and it was just awesome. Yes.
We didn't mention the grand opening, did we?
Not enough. Why don't you go into it a little bit?
Sure. So everyone is invited to come explore the studio and have snacks.
Pie. Love you, pie.
On May 1st. So I guess the format is in the morning from 10 till 2. We're inviting the local vendors from Main Street, and then from 2 till 9. Is it?
Yes.
Anybody else who wants to stop by any of those times, come and join us. And we'll have a photo booth up, so you guys can have your photo taken in the official Loft Studio booth, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna have all kinds of props. We're gonna have probably Joe LeDuc is gonna man the photo booth and just be fun with everybody. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Just the photo booth alone. Come meet the partners. Come say hello. If you need any photography services, say you're getting married in a couple of years or in a year, and you need to talk to a wedding photographer, but you don't really know who you can trust. Come to this. There's 3 or 4 of them that you can speak to about that. So there's all kinds of different opportunities if you do come to the thing, and there's going to be discounts if you book for a couple days around the grand opening, Gabriel.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to be on the grand opening. We'll have some grand opening specials available, limited time specials and stuff. So make sure you pop by for the special promo codes, and even if you're not interested in renting studio space, come by and I'll talk you into it. But even if you haven't been on Main Street in a while, there's a lot of new stores that have opened up, really cool stores that you're not going to find. Like there's a raw food place, which I'm fundamentally opposed to, but it's also pretty neat. There's a comic book store. Is it right next to the arcade? There's not a lot of comic book stores left. There's sorry?
Is it arcade?
No. But I'm just saying, it's like you don't have a lot of those left around. There's a store where all it sells is like happy things. All it sells is T-shirts and bags and stuff with happy things written on them. It's
okay.
Yeah, there's a really nice tea shop there, and so come down, check out Main Street, and then pop up and check out the Loft while you're there.
And since none of them have paid us any promotional pricing, we can't say their names officially on the show, apparently. So
I don't remember a lot of the names. I walked up and down there with Trish on Saturday, I think it was. When Trish and Jane and I were there cleaning the studio, and we just took a little break, and it's like, there's some really cool places. It took us like 2 hours to go up and down the whole sort of southern strip because we just kept on going into different stores.
That was probably a photographer 2 hour though, right? Like stopping and taking a photo or thinking about 5 minutes. The average person would probably take an hour.
Probably, yeah. There was a lot of nice backdrops and tile work and brickwork in the alleys and stuff. We kept on stopping and taking portraits and things.
I think the coolest thing that we should really mention is the fact that Newmarket is one of the original trading hubs of Canada. People would come down from way up north and trade with Hudson Bay Company in Newmarket at the trading post just around the corner from our place, 100 years ago and more. And this was their connection between the Great North and Toronto and the world. And Newmarket was that hub. That's why it's called Newmarket. So the fact that we are on Main Street with the most beautiful stuff that Newmarket has to offer, the whole community center is literally a hop, skip, and a jump away. I've tried it. It was funny to look at. People took pictures. And, there's so many cool things that go on there. The farmers market every weekend or every Saturday, I believe Saturday and Sunday, during the spring and fall, summer and fall. There's so much that goes on just in Newmarket. So we're just happy to be a part of this. I just really want to connect with the other vendors along Main Street and let them know that we're there and we want to work with them, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. And yes,
pie.
And there's going to be pie.
Pie is good.
If anything, show up for the pie. That's all I'm going to be there for.
Now, are you making the pie?
Well, I'm only there for the pie.
No, actually, the pie is coming from the maid's cottage.
Nice.
One of the things that we've made a rule, if we need things, we're going to pick them up along Main Street.
Might as well. It's great little coffee shops down there.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Well, our buddy Ron Clifford, he's at the Cover Notes coffee shop just around the corner from us, like all the time.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the one that has the books in the back, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I haven't gone back far enough. I don't recognize books very often. They blur in front of me, and I get confused. Okay, so Gordon says a student of life discount. So Nick is all in because there's a student discount. So Gord wants to know if there's a student of life discount as well. Well, I would definitely get that one. What about the Storm Channel? Looks like cool spot right across the street. I know, it's so true. Just the waterfall and everything around Fairy Lake. It's just a beautiful area. Beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. It's a cantina down the street as well.
Cantina?
Never been there, but the patio on the sidewalk looks awesome.
Oh, Cachet.
Yeah, eventually I'll go there.
Oh, yeah.
Delicious.
I've been there a couple times. It's nice.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so now the next thing I just want to get into is something that I need Navi to talk about. So Navi, please educate us on what is going to be so awesome about the portrait session, because this is the Navy Nhum Master Class session, and the Master Class is basically I look for somebody who I think is an extreme super talent. I ask them to run a portrait session or a session of their choice, and we promote it through Daytripper. But this is all you. So tell us what's so cool about this.
I'm super excited because it's my thing. I've been to a number of workshops before, and the ones where you're just sitting there and listening, I'm not that type of learner. Like I can take all the notes I want, but if I'm not doing anything, I'm not absorbing it. So this is going to be a little bit different than the free workshops or whatever, because we're actually going to be shooting. We have 2 professional models coming in, hair, makeup, all that stuff, and you'll be learning about not just studio lighting, but portrait lighting. You don't have to own studio lights to take great photos. We're going to be talking about how to use your flash, how to match the ambient light, learning about posing, and really going to be hands-on. It's a nice small group, so you're not going to be waiting in a lineup of 8 other people to take one picture during the workshop. So it's going to be very interactive. So that's usually how I like to run any of my classes.
And we'll both be there as well. So you're going to be giving the main content, and I'll be able to help answer all the questions when people feel like stumped. I love watching you when you teach, because you get right to the person, you explain, you show. But if somebody is in the back of the room and they just put their eyes down and you can see that they're just thinking about it, whatever, I'll just zip right over there and help that as well. So having that extra support just lends to the content that you're going to be delivering.
Yeah, it's going to be good to have you too, because sometimes even I forget or whatever, a little technical thing about the camera. So it'll be good for you to be there to help and answer any questions that maybe you forgot just because you haven't had any pie for the day. Just
no pie. There may not be pie for that, but this guy will be there. This
Watch
guy.
out.
I don't know, some people may call this pie, not me. But so this is Justin. Justin is a wrestler that I know, and he has agreed to be the male model for this session. So I don't know if anybody could take a bad photo of this guy.
It's going to be cool because it's going to be very contrasting to our other model, which is a beautiful female brunette model who will be more fashion-y, a little bit softer compared to him.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be able to work with totally different lighting, and that's just a bigger, broader experience. Very cool. Well, Navi, I'm stoked about that. We've only got 3 spots open for that session.
Sold out.
Pretty much sold out. This is the first official session at the Loft Studio, so everybody's going to get a sneak peek before our grand opening. April 16th is the day of the session. It's a Saturday, and I can't wait for it. So if anybody still wants to register, check it out at www.daytripperphoto.com and take one of those 3 spots. Okay, yeah, Nick says...
I'm going to show a photo of our female model here.
Oh, cool.
How do we do this again? Screen share.
Choose your window. It's been that long. There she is. Yeah, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, so no matter what, I think you're going to leave with some great photos, but really great face to work with, and I think you'll get some really good stuff for your portfolio.
Very good. Beauteous. I'm so excited. Everything's just so cool right now. But you know what? There's other things that we should talk about. This is like a banter show, so we got to banter on about other stuff too. Navi, I know you said earlier that you've got some other things that you might want to do tonight, so feel free to hang out. But if you
hang out for a little bit, and then I got some work to do, so I want to listen to you guys banter about probably cats, but I'll stay.
Yeah, probably cats. There's actually a few really cool things that have happened this week, and the big launch of new product was obviously a couple weeks back. But there are a few interesting funny things that I found. First of all, there's a really great article that I found, since we're talking about studio and all that kind of stuff, being a portrait photographer. On fstoppers.com, there's something, the 3 traits of a successful studio photographer. I would recommend that people check this out. It goes into communication, it goes into conceptualization, so thinking about your photo and thinking about what you're trying to create, and experimentation. So if you can master those 3 things as a studio portrait photographer, you experiment, you try, different concepts, you think outside the box, and of course, you have to communicate with your model. You have to be able to talk and be able to get that word across. And these are things that Navi is great at, all of those things.
Thanks.
So, well, I mean,
like with any sort of people photography, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you can't talk to a human being and sort of have that connection or communication, go shoot a tree.
Yeah, right. That's why I take pictures of trees.
And your cat, so.
And my cats, yes. Okay, so that's on fstoppers.com. It's under the business link. It's the great little article, The 3 Traits of a Successful Studio Photographer. Now, you guys know the Lytro camera? We talked about last week, I went into a little bit about the Panasonic with the post-focus feature, and somebody mentioned Lytro.
Mm-hmm.
Lytro has this infinite focus thing.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, Lytro is no longer in the photography consumer kind of world.
Do they have anything else besides that camera that they were trying to push?
So.
Well, what they're trying to do now is they say that rather than focus on consumer photography business, they're going to be focusing on virtual reality. So they've got this really cool new camera that I'll show you this article here. It's a pretty radical design, and they're basically trying to create virtual reality in more of a professional level, big budgets and big money and all that. But the photography business, the consumer level photography business, is no more for Lytro. Now, some people are saying that was a sign, they knew that would happen. It's like 3D movies and all that kind of stuff where it's in for a little while, then everybody gets sick of wearing glasses and never goes back. And some people are saying, you know what? It makes sense because now there's post-focus and now there's all these other features for focus. So why would they invest millions and more dollars? I think that's being proactive, which Kodak could have learned something from, I think. Do you guys have an opinion on any of that?
Did they really even sell any of those cameras? Because I thought, from what I saw, it was just prototypes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they're available. I know some photographers that picked them up. There was a version 1 and a version 2. And yeah, they were out there. They weren't cheap and they weren't incredibly. I think one of the problems that they ran into is one of the problems that I had with the Theta 360 camera was that it's easy to use, but it's hard to share.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of the pictures, you had to post them on their website and then link to it. Right, so it was hard to do that.
That's always a very awkward thing for people who don't know what Lytro was intended to do. Here is a screen share. So this is basically they allow you to control your depth of field by focusing at all points of focus or light path hitting at all points. So this is the extended depth of focus image you see, and then you can go and do a shallow depth of focus. And this is all post. This is all after the fact, after you've taken your photo. So it's a little different than what Panasonic's doing with shooting a 4K video clip and then letting you choose the single frame from that video clip after the fact. It's literally capturing light at all points and letting you change it to the point where not only does it let you choose focus, but it almost works like a tilt shift where you can skew and you can change how that light is hitting everything. So the Lytro cameras were a neat concept, but I don't think they were as user-friendly as they wanted, and I think that would kind of lend to what Gabriel's saying. When something's not user-friendly, she gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty
Cool
cool.
idea in theory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's not the hip trend anymore. The hip trend is 4K. The hip trend is immersive video, like the Google Cardboard and the Oculus Rift and stuff. And virtual reality and augmented reality, and that's sort of the big areas. And so if they can take what they learned from their existing technology and from their first 2 cameras and put it into something like that that's going to be sort of the next generation, then that might give them a bit of a head start. But I mean, Microsoft Sony, Nikon, Google, Apple has hired like 1,000 engineers for immersive video and virtual reality. So there's a lot of companies going after this pretty head on.
Well, now you got another one in the market. And Nick, yes, that was all done from one single exposure. So you can choose which part of the photo you want to have focus after you've taken it, all from one click. Also, did you guys hear about the new Blink Cam? I've said it. You can check back in the show. I've said it many, many, many times. The minute they have a camera, when all you got to do is blink, it takes a picture, I'm in. Here's the problem. It's a contact lens. And I tried putting contacts in for Halloween, and no matter how badly I want to be a zombie, I could not get them in my eyeballs. So this is the Samsung patents a blink-triggered contact lens camera. Samsung has been granted a patent in South Korea for a smart contact lens that projects images directly into the wearer's eyeball.
It's so weird.
And it even has a built-in camera that's controlled by blinking.
So it projects images into the eyeball. So does that mean that it's its own display? Like, is it one of those DLP, DISP displays that IBM, I think, was working on years ago, where it used reflected light instead of a screen to show you what you were looking at?
It's developing a contact lens with a tiny display, a camera, an antenna, and several sensors. It needs to be paired with an external device, i.e. a smartphone, for processing the content. So you carry your smartphone on you, you blink, it sends the photo to your smartphone, and bing, there's your picture.
Now, I imagine it would need some type of external power supply as well, like a pack or like a glasses frame that you would basically beam the electricity into your eyeball.
It's got a cable running out the side.
Yeah,
well, there actually was a guy that did that with he put LEDs in a contact lens and actually had a very thin copper wire running out of his eyeball to a battery pack.
Because what can go wrong?
Terrifying. Just like homemade contact lenses are not something that you should play with.
Oh my God! I was actually thinking these are nuclear powered, and they are self-powered. So you put them in your eyeballs, and you turn into a glowing-eyed man or something.
That could be. You never know.
Now, one of the problems that they're probably going to run into, because Google had that with Google Glass, and there was an add-on that you got that when you could take a picture from the Google Glass just by winking or blinking. Actually, it was winking, and it didn't go over very well. I really think the whole Google Glass thing didn't go over very well, and I think a lot of that would have been alleviated if they had put a status light that showed when you were recording or when you were taking a picture. And this, people aren't even going to know, theoretically, if you have it on.
And that's what they say right here. Samsung says the smart contact lenses can provide better image quality than off-eye solutions such as Google Glass. Like Google Glass, however, these contact lenses will undoubtedly come under intense scrutiny over the privacy eroding implications. They're essentially hard-to-detect cameras that can be taken and used anywhere a person goes and on anything a person can see. So, I mean, I could see somebody like a guy that we used to know named something who would go into, like, those places where women dance with no clothes on and stuff, and he came in to buy a point-and-shoot camera that would work really well in low light, and I kept on asking, why do you need it so good in low light? Well, the dancers can't know I'm taking pictures. I'm like, you sick beep.
Wow.
So, yeah, I can totally see, I know this took a real dark turn, but I can totally see people, taking advantage of that. That's got to be something.
I'm just thinking now, if this records video, people doing bootleg recordings of movies, but like every now and then, like when you're watching it, like you see them blinking.
You're blinking with them. I want to bring this to a light, happy place. There are actual times that I think that would be kind of cool. Like there are times that my dog's doing something, hilarious or something adorable, and I want to take a picture of it. But I know by the time I go get my camera, it's going to follow me up the stairs because it, for some reason, needs to be attached to me when I'm home, which I'm completely okay with. It's small and but
well,
it's
it's going to stop it when I leave. So I do see that this could be kind of cool, but at the same time, there's a lot with it. But this is going to go with any new technology. We're going to run into issues like this, and we've actually already started to see some of these come up with the virtual reality side of things. Is the kind of stigma behind it and how society itself is going to react to it. And we saw how fantastically society reacted to the Google Glass. So this is just going to bring that to the next level because it's going to be a very large unknown. And society on the whole kind of fears the unknown.
Well, what makes me laugh is it's perfectly legal in some places to build a bazooka, but not wear Google Glass. I mean, there's this weird...
But
the world is a weird place. I mean, I know I'm opening a can of worms here, but...
AR-15s are legal, but Kinder Eggs aren't.
Yeah,
America.
Where is that?
America.
There's actually a
Kinder
story
Eggs are banned.
I think it's a Canadian family going to the States, and their kids had, some chocolates, some Kinder Eggs, and they were getting fined for trying to bring contraband in the States.
Jeez.
It's some ridiculous things.
Sad. Nick
but
says he doesn't quite understand about the eye thing. So every time you blink, it takes a picture. It's not quite that. I think you would have to tell it, okay, I'm ready to take a picture.
either that or Samsung doesn't quite understand this either.
Well, and also
Chances
remember,
right.
I know more about American Patent Office, but you don't actually have to have a product to file a patent.
Just needs an idea.
Yeah, you just have to have an idea. So it's, Google filed a patent for something like this years ago. They have a patent for a contact lens that monitors your glucose levels. So it's, maybe just file the patent and then work out the bugs down the line.
Yeah, it might not be technically feasible right now, but the idea exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
but what
interesting
is
thought.
technically feasible right now, if I can distract ourselves away to another major announcement that was made not that long ago, a couple days ago, just actually after our last show, is the announcement of the new Model 3, which is
the Tesla
affordable electric car that sold a ludicrous amount of pre-sales in the first 24 hours of being available. And for a car company that so far has lost money on everything it sold, this is a fantastic direction that could take electric cars and finally make them the everyday go-to. Because when we take a look at what's existing out there right now, we take a look at things like the EV1. Oh, hold on, sorry, the Chevy Volt. Sorry, terrible joke. Or like the Nissan Leaf. They're attempts at something, but they're thinking in the same way you would build a car. You're starting with a car, and then you're making it electric. Where at least with the Tesla side of things, they say, well, we're going to make an electric platform and put a car around that and build it for that, which is kind of what they tried to do with the EV1 and then the Volt. However, they didn't do it terribly successfully. And so when you look at your comparison, your price comparison between a Model 3 and the Chevy Volt as a direct comparison, a direct competitor, you have two things that do not compare to each other for roughly the same price.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be fantastic to see what the Model 3 does to the market. And I think it's only going to push further forward the electric cars. And I think it's great that they are still pushing forward. I think it's great that they're still driving their company forward, especially in this this economy of cheap oil, especially now that it's lost its value, because it's not a temporary solution. Cheap oil is a temporary solution, whereas this is a future solution. And some of the ideas that they're working on, the ideas of having supercharging stations or battery replacement stations, are fantastic. And I think it's a great thing to drive everything forward with.
Well, and the whole thing with that, like Elon Musk owns Tesla, and the first 3 cars, I think it is, that he put out, they were way, way, way overpriced. But the first car was way overpriced to fund the second car, which was overpriced to fund the third car. And all those cars were overpriced to fund, this is his end game. Yep. And many companies, including Apple, have been trying to buy Tesla for years and years and years. But here's a guy, he doesn't have to worry about money, and he's not in this for money. He's actually losing money with it. And his end game is not to make a better car, but it's to save the world.
Yeah, and you can see that because he is, and we talked about patents a minute ago, he's taken all of his patents that he has for the electric cars and said, if you want to make an electric car, this is how you do it.
Right, yeah.
Do it. And so it's fantastic that he is he knows that he's got the market share right now, but he knows that if more people start doing it, then the cost of doing it becomes cheaper. And if we can have that, society shift in that direction, then that will have a fantastic impact down the road. Not to mention that at the same time he's pushing electric cars, he's inadvertently pushing self-driving cars, safer ways of transit. And I know you might get the articles every now and then about people who misuse the auto drive feature and get speeding tickets or that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, a robot would most likely be safer than a person.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's 250,000 people a year die from road, vehicle-related accidents, and the Google vehicle has driven 3.2. The Google fleet has driven 3.2 million miles and has been involved in 6 accidents, 5 of which were not the car's fault. It was rammed, and then one where it ran into the side of a bus at 2 kilometers an hour, to the point where even the person operating the vehicle said, "I thought the bus was going to move for us. I wouldn't have done anything different." Yeah. So you take the statistics, and it's going to be hundreds of thousands of lives that are saved with self-driving vehicles.
Not even that; it's also the time saved. You're looking at rush hour style traffic. But with highway speeds and with people with cars that know where they're going, so that if their off-ramp's coming up, they're not going to ride in the left lane until they need to cut across 4 lanes of traffic to try and get off, and they're not going to be idiots that know that, when I hit Brock Road, I need to move to the left. It's just going to be a better situation for everyone.
Well, if that's going to happen, they have to open up public areas where people can take a car and drive if they want to.
Well, it'll be most of the side roads and stuff will be probably person driving, but any highway, any freeway will be a lot more automated.
It's going to be a somewhat... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially because that's a lot more predictable situation. Side roads and that kind of thing are a lot less predictable than a highway. Highway, everyone's traveling in the same direction at roughly the same speed. A lot easier to manage than everyone traveling on a side road with people running out, stoplights, stop signs, that kind of thing.
Deer, pheasants, birds.
It's going to be a somewhat gradual thing. If you look at the new cars now, they have assisted cruise control, they have lane awareness, they have, they'll back into a parking spot for you, all that stuff. Jaden's 7 now. So with the way this technology is going, he'll drive a little bit in his life. Most of his driving is going to be automated, but his kids will never need a driver's license.
But, even with all this automation, we still need people to take pictures. And at the end of the day, camera technology is getting further advanced. We might be able to take pictures with our eyeballs, but we still need people to take pictures.
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely.
We create a smart drone that just replaces us at weddings.
I think we have to stop making things easy for everybody and start training people better. I don't care.
I agree.
I mean, humans suck, and if you have a bunch of humans dumbing down, I mean, it's like the movie where...
Biodome.
That's it.
So it's called Biodome?
No, that's not it.
No, you're thinking of...
Pauly Shore movie.
Idiocracy.
Is that the one where they have, like,
Idiocracy.
Yes.
That's the one.
This is completely different. The fact that humans drive vehicles is a bug.
It's the same as when people said, "Oh wait, don't watch TV; it'll influence our youth." Oh, sorry, you don't think TV influences our youth? What percentage of your vocabulary is directly taken from watching TV or movies?
Hey, don't have a cow, man.
Well, it is. We need to train people. Keep making things easier for people. Anyway, I digress. So let's get into...
If we wanted more things done, we'd make it less efficient.
Yeah.
From the man that doesn't drive and doesn't see how many people text while behind the car.
Hey, I do
Every
drive.
car should be self-driving.
I've been driving since I was 15, bucko. I just let my wife use the car.
Boy, things got really quiet there.
I know. Anywho, let's just say Navi's got to take off.
So thanks for having me on again, guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the Loft.
Yes, grand opening. Awesome. Thanks for being on the show, Nav.
Thanks for coming on.
Have a good night. All right, so we pretty much wrapped up the show. We were going to talk about Eric Johansson's new photo, but we're pretty much at the end of the thing.
It's a cool picture, though.
It is a cool. You know what? We have a minute. Why don't we show it? So Eric Johansson is an amazing photographer who makes composite images, and if you haven't seen his work, I really, really recommend you check him out. So here is a screen share of one of his latest pieces of work that's getting quite the attention right now. What he does is he sets up situations where he takes pictures of all different kinds over months and months and months. He plans out these photos. He thinks about the lighting, the angle of reflection, everything. And then he takes a picture here, he takes a picture there, he takes a picture here, and merges them into a single shot to create these amazing pieces of work. So in this article, this is on Petapixel. I totally recommend people check this out. You can see, if I scroll down, he's actually just sitting in a canoe in the middle of this barren area with a whole bunch of pieces of mirror, and then he goes to another place and takes a picture of the ocean, and he takes a picture of fish, and he merges them all together to make this one piece of work. Navi, I kind of was hoping she'd be on the show to talk about this because she had some really good points about how this isn't necessarily photography anymore. But what do you think about that? Like, obviously he took a picture because there's a picture here he takes, and he takes a picture of the backgrounds, and so it's photography. You have to have exposure. You're reading light, photography, drawing with light. It's exactly what he's doing. So, but what do you think?
I kind of agree with Navi on this, where it's blurring that line. It's taking it from photography in its natural sense to more of a creative, abstract-ish style art form. And not so much with this picture, but with some of his last work, where you have someone who's using a road as a blanket, or people playing tic-tac-toe with heavy equipment. You know, it's blending that line between real and imaginary. And I think that's what's bringing him away from photography and more into art. And that's I know we're splitting hairs. You know, photography is art, but more of a creative art, more of a created art, as opposed to a captured art. Now, the two can be very, very similar, but when we're looking at something like this that is effectively, you know, two scenarios put together to create an actual, you know, individual picture, we are looking at a more created situation. We are looking at more of an abstract, more modern art style. Now, is this modern art of photography? Maybe. What is modern art? Go down that rabbit hole later on about modern art, but I think it's definitely photography, but it is more abstract, more created art than captured art, and that's how I would look at it.
I agree with that. That's actually a really good way to put it, not captured art, because that's generally how I see things. I'm not much of a composite shooter, but seeing this kind of stuff inspires me to try it. Like, there's a few people in our local area that I can think of off the top of my head. Julie Braca, Chris Kolowski. There's so many really amazing, Isabel Kelly, amazing people who can create these composite pieces of work and art that when you see it, you're just like, wow, how did you do that? So
now, just to elaborate on, now, first off, the thing I don't like about this picture is whatever artifacting is going on in the sky. But
I know, it looks like it's a rip in paper.
It's actually intentional. I watched the behind the scenes.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be the mirror cracking.
Okay, I get what's going on there then. Now, if we take a look over to your right and up a little bit above the pie or cake, there is a before and after how one photographer edits his photos. If you click on that, that is taking this idea to the extreme, where you're using composites to make your pictures better. And if you scroll down a little bit, there's a couple pictures here where.
Okay, before we go any further, I just want to say these photos are Peter Stewart, an internationally published photographer. He's all over 500px, Flickr, Instagram, all over the place.
Yeah, but I just want to say that, like, look at this picture. This picture is a composite of a different sky in a different situation. So this is blending in, again, created art versus captured art. Because what he captured is different than what he created. So taking the idea and using mirrors on the ground and blending pictures together is still creating photography. It is just, in this one person's opinion, which may or may not reflect the opinions of Daytripper Photography, it is more of a created art form than a captured art form. Is it correct? Yes. Is it cool? Absolutely. So it's just a different way of potentially looking at it.
Anything to add there, Gabe?
Yeah, I mean that it's the kind of thing that you could sit down and go through 3 cappuccinos arguing, but it's everybody's gonna have their own definition. I think that he sums it up well.
Yeah, I agree. Excellent. Okay.
And what did you say about opinions?
If you're
right.
Oh, right. yeah. If you agree with us, you're right. If you disagree with us, you're right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for us tonight, guys. We want to remind everybody who's watching there is still a week left before we go into our photo review episode, and that is the big photo review episode. We're going to give away a $350 Daytripper Photo gift certificate toward any day trip except Master Class, because that's a different vibe. For anybody who's interested, who's done this, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to give away some lens pen stuff. We've got the Lens Pen Pro Kit, the DSLR cleaning kit.
Nice.
We have the regular lens pen. We've got lens cloths. We've got peeps. Peeps are the coolest thing. They're just not fun to say, but they actually do a really good job cleaning your eyeglasses. Very cool stuff. So we've got a little gift pack we're going to give away for second and third place. And, of course, first place is going to get their lens pen, too. So, guys, take advantage of this opportunity. We have double points for this current contest. Whoever wins this photo challenge that we have coming up gets twice the points. So there's still a chance to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Moore is in the lead right now. He's doing very well. He's very active. He actually came by the studio and said hi to us today.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I saw him from our window, and I'm like, Mark! I went banging on the window. Mark! You couldn't hear me. I guess that's what happens when you're on the third floor. But
Yeah.
whatever. And to remind everybody what our current photo challenge is, it is why. And Gabe, please explain why we chose why.
Well, yeah, my original idea for it was why photography? Why do you take pictures? Now, I know there's been a few pictures submitted already that may incorporate that idea, but if you're having a hard time with it, why do you take pictures? Why do you pick up a camera? Why is photography important to you? Why do you sit for an hour and 2 minutes on a Wednesday night listening to a bunch of people rattle on about photography? Why do you listen to photography podcasts? Why do you go to Petapixel? Why do you why photography? Why is it important to you? And see if you can create a picture that captures your why.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And I'm happy you were able to tell us, because you weren't on the show when we first issued the challenge, and you had a definite idea for this challenge, and that's definitely a good twist that I think people should think about.
Which you totally didn't communicate properly, so
I did.
It's nice to. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
It was a fail on my part. I'll own up to that. But somebody possibly could have made a post even about something after you finished dying there.
After I finished dying coughing, yeah. Sorry about that.
You okay? You gonna make it?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay, cool. So anyway, yeah, that's it. Anything else to add before we say goodnight, guys? Phil?
No, I think that's it. There's been some really good posts so far for the why, and so I'm really excited to see what else we have for next week. So
the way you just said that for the why, I got an instant image of YMCA. Have a guy dressed up in one of the YMCA outfits doing the Y. Anyway, Gabe, anything else you want to add? Sorry, Phil, what was that?
No, I'm just dancing. It's okay.
Anything else you want to say before we say goodnight?
I don't think so. Is there something I'm missing?
No.
No.
I do want to quickly mention that part 2 to our Sound and Vision episode is coming up on the 20th of April, and is our Vision episode, and we've got an amazing special guest. Rob Como is going to be our special guest. He's a videographer, filmmaker. He's the guy that went viral by making the post of the car he was trying to sell. He couldn't sell his car for about 14 months, so he made this crazy video about how to sell he wanted to sell his car, and it went viral. And that's just one of the things. He makes short films. Excellent guy. He's going to get into how important the creative media of video needs to be. We talked with Sennheiser about audio. Now we're getting into video, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we're going to attempt to do our first live show from the Loft, and that's going to be on the 27th. That's our next Banter show, and we're going to hopefully do it from the actual studio itself. if we have internet by then. If it doesn't keep snowing and we can get our internet installed.
There you go.
Very nice. Okay, Nick says, thanks, guys. As always, amazing show. Have a good night. You too, Nick. Thanks for watching. And Nick actually emailed me before the show today. He's got a really interesting idea that we're going to talk about and see what happens with that. And before we say good night, I'm just going to let our good buddy Gabriel Bousquet give us a quote of the day.
So my quote for this week is one I just stumbled across. When people ask me what photography equipment I use, I tell them my eyes.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So true. And when you have contact lenses in there, you're going to even do better. Very cool.
Samsung Contact.
Yeah, this message has been brought to you by Samsung. All right, cool. Good night, Gord. Good night, Phil. Good night, Gabriel. Good night to everybody else who sat through the show tonight. Thank you all for watching.
Johnny.
Good night, John Boy. And we'll see you all next week. Take care, everybody. Have a good time. Bye-bye.